Morning children, maths is our first video lesson for today. So I'm going to share my screen with you now. Okay, so today we're learning to recognise and use odd and even numbers. So our key vocabulary for today's lesson is odd, even, ones, because it's the ones that you need to look at to tell whether a number is odd or even, share equally, and odd one out. So if you look at these numbers here, these are all your odd numbers. So if we look at the ones, we've got 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. And they don't share equally because there's always an odd one out. Can you see they all stick up by 1 there? And then the even numbers, they all share equally. Each circle has got a partner next to it. Can you see? And even numbers end in 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0. So if you would like to pause the video and practice singing these odd and even songs, it will help you with your work today as a little bit of a warm-up. So pause me now and then come back to me for the rest of the lesson. So here's some information about even numbers. So even numbers, they all have a partner. They can be split in half exactly, so each side would be exactly the same, and they are all in the 2 times table. And even numbers end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, no matter how big they are. So you could have 2006, and it's the last digit, that 6 at the end, that tells you whether that number is odd or even. Then odd numbers, they cannot be halved evenly. There will always be an odd one out. So if you try to split them in half, this side would have 1 more than this side, and it wouldn't be even. They end in 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. And again, it doesn't matter how big or how small the number is. If it ends, the 1 digit is one of those numbers, it's an odd number. It can't be both. It's either odd or even. So here's a little rhyme to help you to remember which ones are odd and which one's even. So it goes 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Even numbers, they are great. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Look who's in the odd line. This is 100 square showing you the pattern of the odd and even numbers. So it's every other number. So when you're doing your 2 times table and counting in 2s, they're all your even numbers. And they will always end in a 2. You see the pink numbers there? 4, a 6, an 8, or a 0. They're all your even numbers. Remember, it's the ones digit you need to look at. Then all your odd numbers, they're the white ones, they end in 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9. All of your odd numbers. So remember to check whether your number can share equally. If both amounts are the same, when you're dividing it between 2 groups, if they're equal, then it's an even number. If there's 1 left over, so your groups aren't equal, then it will be an odd number. And remember, when you're looking at a number, it's the ones that tell you whether it is odd or even. So it doesn't matter if it starts with an odd or an even number, that doesn't matter at all. It's that last digit. Okay, so I know you don't have Numicon at home, okay, but you could have a look back at the previous slides to see the different shape Numicon, okay? So it says here, which pieces are odd? Explain why. So we've got this one, okay? And we've got a 5, we've got a 6, and we've got a 3. So you need to tell me out of those, which ones are odd and why you know they're odd. Okay, so pause the video and have a little chat to your adult. Then it's asking you to find and draw another odd piece. Now, like I said, you don't have them at home, but you could find a piece on one of the previous slides and have a go at drawing that. Remember, it's got to be an odd one. Okay. Now it says you've got a bubble with lots of numbers in here, and it says which of these numbers can be shared equally between 2? Are the numbers odd or even? Okay, now I know that you won't have all the maths toolkit that we have at school, but Mrs. Wood last week said you can go around your house and you can find some different things that you can use to help you with your maths. Now I've gone around and had a look in my children's room, and we've got some Lego that I could share, or I've seen some ingenious ideas from the work that's been handed in. Somebody used jigsaw pieces to make their arrays last week. Somebody else used Smarties, which I think is a fantastic idea, because once you've finished your maths work, you get to have a little treat at the end. I'm going to show you with some pictures that represent my Lego, okay? So I'm going to start with 6, and I'm going to divide 6 into 2 groups, 2 piles, and if those piles are the same, I know that's an even number, and if there's 1 left over, I know it's an odd number. So I'm going to start with 6. You ready? So into 2 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm looking at both of those groups. Both of those groups are equal, so I know that 6 is an even number. So I'm just going to have a look at my pen here, and I'm going to write 6 in my even column because I found out that it is even. And I'm going to cross that one out because I know I've done it. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my pointer here, and I'm going to make 3. So I'm going to share 3 and see if that one is odd or even. So 1, 2, 3. I can see that there are 2 on this side, but there's only 1 on this side, so I've got an odd one out. So I know that 3 is going to be an odd number. So I'm going to write it there and cross it out so I know I've done it. So you need up to 20 things. So if you can pause the video now and go around your house and find 20 pieces of something. So it could be 20 pieces, jigsaw pieces. Anything you've got, whatever you used before to make your arrays, that would be good. Okay, and then I want you to sort all the rest of those numbers and then come back and unpause the video, and I will tell you which side they go on, and you can see if you were right. Okay, so let's look at the other numbers we've got. We've got 20. Okay, and I know that 20 is an even number because it ends in a 0, and I know numbers that end in 0 are even. And also, if you shared it out, then there would be 10 on each side, 10 in each group. Okay, and then we move on to 18, and I know that 18 is also an even number, and if you shared those out, you would end up with 9 in each group. Okay, then we've got 17. Now I know that 17 is an odd number. Okay, and if you shared that one out, you would have 1 left over. Okay, what else have we got? We've got 14. 14 is another even number, and you would have 7 in each group if you sorted 14 into groups. 9 is an odd number. That would give you 1 left over. 2 is an even number. Okay, that would just have 1 in each group. And 15 is another odd number. So all our odd numbers have to end in 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9, which they do. So you can give yourself a tick if you got those right. All our even numbers end in 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0, which they do. Okay, so let's go back down here. You need to fill it in the words in the sentence. So something numbers can be shared equally between 2. So what do you think that is? That's even. You're right. Even numbers can be shared equally between 2, like our 6 up above here. And something numbers can't be shared equally between 2. That was like our 3 up here. So that is the odd numbers. Okay. Right, it's your turn now. We're on the do it. You've got 2 grids here. You've got a grid for your odd numbers, and you're going to fill out all the odd numbers. Now, when you are counting in 2s, whether you start with your odd or your even numbers, you are always missing a number out each time. So we start with 1, and you're going to miss out 2 and write 3, miss out 4 and write 5, and so on. And if you fill it out correctly, you should see a pattern, like in that 100 grid that I showed you at the beginning. Okay, then you're going to do the same with your even numbers. So you've got 0, missed out 1, and you've got 2, you're going to miss out 3, and then you have 4. And when that's all filled out, if you've done it correctly, again, you should see a pattern. Okay, so you can pause the video now and go and do your do it. Then for your secure it, there are some mistakes. So these numbers have been sorted just like we sorted our numbers in that chart at the beginning, but they aren't all written as numbers. Some of them are pictures, okay? Some of them are in words as well as numbers, and you've got some money as well. So look at them really carefully, and it says spot the mistakes and put a cross next to them, but you could tick the ones that are right as well, just so that it makes sure that you haven't missed any out. So have a go at doing that now, and then come back. We've got another secure it, and this one is a true or false. Okay, so true or false, 12 is an odd number. And then it says prove it. So you can't just write true or false. You've got to prove it. There are different ways you could prove it. You could prove it by explaining how you know which numbers are odd or even, or you could draw pictorially, sharing, and see whether you have an odd one out or not. Okay, so have a little go at proving that, whether it's true or false. And then finally, you've got your deepen it. So this one is always true, sometimes true, or never true. It says when you add two even numbers together, so there are two even numbers there, there's 4 and 6, you always get an even number. Now, you can't just do one number sentence for this because it says always true, and you can't really tell from just doing it once whether it's always going to be true. You can't just do 2 number sentences from this either, because sometimes true, if you've got 2 that give you the same result, but again, that's not enough to tell you whether it's always true. So I would like you to do at least 6 number sentences. That's my challenge for you today. 6 number sentences. Remember, both of the numbers have to be even that you're adding together. So we don't want any 1s or 3s or 5s in there, okay? And then you're looking at, when you've added them together, is the answer an even number? Okay, so when you add 4 and 6, what's the total? How much have you got all together? Is it even? Okay, and is that always the case? So when you've done your 6 number sentences, have they all got an even number as the answer? Okay, if they do, you can put a tick on always true. If some of them do, but not all of them, you can tick sometimes true. And if none of them have an even number as the answer, then you can tick never true. Okay, that's it, everyone. Good luck, and hope you get on well with your maths today. Bye.